Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you all with a story time. This was a requested video and am, I don't know if I'm excited or not to tell it, but it is something that has been going on for years now. So I just wanted to come on here and tell you all about it. Obviously I'm not going to say any names. I might just apply a letter to the person or just refer to them as my brother-in-law or my husband's sister-in-law, which I'll definitely let you all know what I'll do within a couple seconds. As you could see, we have adjusted a little bit. I have already unpacked and I've been unpacking and just been all over the place. So that's why I'm making this video kind of late. I would have liked to make it anytime sooner than what it is going to be posted as, but yeah, that is it. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we were living in our previous home for about 2 years. I would say 2.5 years. Like I did say, we were living with my brother-in-law, not in the actual apartment because he did own a building. It was like a 2-floor building and with a basement. And we did live in the second floor, and he and his wife's niece, who is a bit older than me, I think she's like, I don't know if she's like 25 or 26, she lived there as well, and they have 2 children, so the children are, I think, like under 5 years. Both of them are under 5 years. So yeah, but before I do get into all of the details, you do have to know that this was sort of like an ongoing issue for many years since I've known I think like a couple months or even a year after I first met my husband. I met my husband back in 2009. And we were dating, and obviously his brother lived with my husband just because they were both single. So I would go out with both of them. We would, I don't know, like have fun activities, go out to restaurants, or just, I don't know, set up times and dates where we would all like have some food and just talk and play cards and all of that good stuff. So I did get along with my brother-in-law. He was like a brother to me at some point just because I did see him a lot once I started visiting my husband at his new apartment and all of that stuff. And I actually lived with both of them for I think like 6 months. So I was actually the person held responsible and accountable for dinner and running errands for both of them. So that's why I'm saying that he became like a brother to me. So at one point he met this woman who I believe she is 8 or 10 years older than him. From the very start, she tried to put me down in various ways, very subtle, but she nonetheless tried to put me down by body shaming me, and just in general talking about my husband's past and trying to make me feel bad. I don't know if that was her purpose, like trying to make me feel bad, put me down, or if it was just her manner of being, if that's the way she was. And if she was like that, she wasn't a very nice person from the beginning, which I tried to get along with her, honestly, just because, like I said, we are family. And I got along with my brother-in-law, like I said, but I just tried very hard to get along with her as well. She would make some rude comments like, oh, you can't wear a bikini to the beach because your body is not form-fitted enough for wearing that. You might feel uncomfortable. Or at other times she would be like, oh, I think you're like a size this, for say, like an XL or an XXL. She would try to apply sizes to make me, I don't know if that was, like I'm saying, I don't know if that was her purpose, but it made me feel bad in some ways. And throughout many years, like I said, I think I met her like in 2010 or so. So throughout 2010 up until now, I had been just keeping all of that inside, trying to get along with her, trying to ignore her rude remarks and just try to live in peace. But yeah, we didn't really see each other much after that. We would visit once every 2 months, once every 3 months, or on special occasions, because my husband and I did move, so we've been moving for many years, guys. I think we've moved a total of 7 times with this move now, so I guess that would be another story if anyone's interested. But yeah, and then when we were living in our last apartment, we were thinking about moving in with my brother-in-law. That was actually before moving in with him. My husband told me that it was going to be a great idea, that they were going to be able to carpool to work together, and it was just going to be amazing. And honestly, I agreed to moving there just because I don't know, I didn't want to argue or didn't want to contradict my husband. But I did tell him that we were going to have issues once we were there, which he said, no, we're not going to have any issues. We're family. We shouldn't have any sort of issues, which he was wrong. Honestly, once we moved in there, I think from the very first day we began to move our stuff. She wasn't home. My husband's sister-in-law, she wasn't home. She had left, and I think she just didn't want to see us. I don't know if she was upset because she wanted her family, like I think her older brother or, I don't know, another sibling to move into their home just to have them close by or not. I don't know. I don't know what was her reasoning, but we did move, and at first, the first year, it was okay, I guess. She would come and visit us. I would cook, and I don't know, for special occasions like my brother-in-law's birthday, I cooked a special dinner for them, and they came upstairs with us. Since we were in the second floor, they were in the first floor. And I was just trying to be friendly, trying to have them. I was actually excited at some point to be living there just because they do have 2 young children, and I love children, guys. Honestly, I don't know, I just do. I feel very not motherly, but I don't have any children, but maybe, yeah, motherly, sort of. So her story before having her children was that she, like I said, she's an older woman, so I don't know, maybe near 45 or around that. So she had complications during her second pregnancy, and I'm not anyone to judge or say, but she did have her first baby, and then I think she waited like a couple months, not even the year, and then she got pregnant again with her second baby, and something happened during her pregnancy that she lost the baby. I think she did end up giving birth, but something happened, and then after that, I think they went into a sort of like depressive state, she and her husband. So I think they were having like issues, like marital issues, but that's beyond the point. And then she ended up getting pregnant again a couple years later, or maybe like a year or 2 years later, and that's when she was blessed with her second child. So just to let you in on that, just because it is important and related to this story. So yeah, after she had her children, and we continued living there, obviously, there were some sort of like altercations. I would leave my home like to go grocery shopping, or just to I don't know, do whatever it was that I was going to do. And since she does live in the first floor, she would obviously always be aware of who was coming in and out of her home, just because you could hear the door and the unlocking of the doors, and then just the footsteps and everything through the stairway. So she would always peek at her window, moving her curtains and just looking at me. I don't know why that started, but it did. And then it obviously bothers me to a point where I don't like people knowing my business. I don't enjoy that, and I'm sure a lot of us don't enjoy being monitored at all times. So yeah, and then it escalated to the point where I guess I was very upset at her watching me, constantly watching me. So one time she was looking through her window, and I was trying to open my door, and I just glanced at her and I smiled. I gave her a smirk. So I just went along with my life. I went inside my home, and she continued her own life in her home. And then a couple weeks later, I heard my husband coming through the back door, since he used to leave and come in through the back door, since he did go to work with his brother and they carpooled together. So he came inside. I remember one day he came inside. He's like, honey, did you drop something in the back porch or something? I was like, no, what, why are you asking me that? And then I remember walking out to the porch and there was salt, what appeared to be like salt, like for the, I don't know, like regular cooking salt or for melting ice. And then we told his brother, my brother-in-law, and he said he didn't know anything about it, that it was a mere coincidence, and it was okay, we'll just go on with our lives. Maybe it was something or someone coming into the home, although I had my doubts. I thought no one's gonna come inside to throw salt in the second floor, not risking being caught, and why come in for that purpose? That doesn't make any sense. Nothing was gone, nothing was missing, so it didn't make any sense that someone would just come in and throw salt at my door and just leave and not throw any salt at her door. So I let it slide. Again, I was trying to keep everything at peace with them, just to live at peace. A couple weeks later after that, I found some salt at my front door, and mind that it wasn't wintertime, it was plain summertime, and there was salt at my door. So at this point I was aggravated, I was upset, so I went ahead and called her. I think I was going to school, or I was at school already, and I was at this point where I was about to explode. So I went ahead and called her and told her all about it. I'm like, okay, so I let the first time slide and now I see it again. So what's going on? What's your problem, basically? And she said it wasn't her, that she didn't know who it was. And then I started telling her that no one was going to come into my home and throw salt, with what purpose and why, basically. Why would they do that? So I basically told her that if it wasn't her, it was her niece, who, like I said, she is a bit older than me, and I have my reasons to believe that she is in love or was in love with my husband, just because, I don't know, when I first met her, my husband did introduce me as his girlfriend, and she really from that instant didn't like me. I didn't do anything. I had not seen her before or prior to that day, but she just didn't like me at all. So I have my reasons to believe that that was a reason why. Honestly, I am not jealous of her, and I trust my husband fully, so I had no other reason to blame her but for that reason, for the salt. And my husband's sister-in-law's response was that it wasn't her, that she was like a daughter to her, that she would never do something like that, that I was just imagining things, basically. So at that point, I told her that if she had any issues, that she should tell me up front and not go behind my back and do stupid things, childish things like that. And I think from there, that's where it escalated to the point where we were clashing even more, because this time I was not keeping it in. I was telling her what was I feeling, and I was just letting it all out at this point. After that, we started having confrontations. There were other parts and bits of the story that I am obviously leaving out just for not making this story way too long. But it got to the point where I was coming home one day from school and she was outside, and then I got out of my car. She was putting her children inside her vehicle, and then I was walking by to get to the house, obviously. And she snapped. She looked at me and she's like, oh, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay, out in the street. We were out in the street, basically. And she said, if you have any problems and if you're not comfortable here, then you need to leave. And I just looked at her and I'm like, excuse me. And I basically looked at her and I was like, okay, so if you're telling us we need to leave, then you need to, honestly, my husband, before I tell you what I did respond to her, my husband, not to rub it in and not to make anyone feel bad, but my husband did help them with no expectations, he did it from his heart, basically. He helped them fix their home up. He did a lot of things for them, and he still continues to do so just because he prefers it that way. He feels that he's helping his brother more than anything or anyone else. So I told her if she wanted us to leave, she had to pay us for everything my husband had done. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to speak with my husband, my brother-in-law. She's like, I'm going to speak with my husband and we're going to pay you so you could leave. And at that point, I was really upset. So I raised my voice and said some things maybe that weren't appropriate to say outside of my home just because it was plain daylight, and I might have spoken kind of loud just because I was upset, and I don't know if the neighbors heard us or not, but beyond that, I went home, I went inside, I was very angry. I called my husband and I told him we had had a confrontation and that she had asked us to leave. So that night when my husband came home, she went upstairs with her husband and she told us that she wanted us out of her house. And she started making up things. She said that I had said I was going to take the house away from them, that I had said that I was going to make his brother work for us, that I was going to buy a home and make his brother fix our home. And she just started making up stuff, and to the point where I was very upset that she was making stuff up. I hate lies. I don't like lies. I don't tolerate lies. So it got to the point where her husband told her that she needed to calm down, or if she wanted to resolve the problem, that basically we should box it out. That's what he said. And I agreed to it. I told her that if that's what she wanted and if that's what she needed in order to calm down, that we should box it out at some point. Which she said no. She said she wasn't going to scoop to that level, and at that point they left downstairs to their home. And then after that, a week later, she came back upstairs and she said that I had thrown salt at her door, which I didn't. And then she said that I had also placed a candle in her front door. And they have cameras in the front, in the back, and I believe inside their home. And I told her to check her cameras to see if it was me. And once she had that proof, to come and show me, which she never did. I am sure the person who put those candles was either her or her crazy niece who lives there with her. So we had some words again, and then she left. A week or 2 weeks later, she came back upstairs, and this time was when she lost her mind. She came upstairs claiming that I wanted to do something to her children, that I wanted to somehow do some witchcraft to them, or to her, or to her family in general. She said she would hear me praying at 2 a.m., which first of all, I know I shouldn't say this, but I do not know how to pray. And second of all, I do not get up at 2 a.m., not even to pee if I have to pee. I am that tired and lazy at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., even 6 a.m. So I don't know where she was coming from. I don't know if she's hearing things or if she was just making stuff up to, I don't know, get at her husband and make her husband kick us out. So after that, after saying that she had heard me pray, and she told my husband, looked at my husband dead in the eye and told him that he knew what I was doing, in which my husband just looked at her like she was insane and just smiled, basically laughing, which angered her more. And then the last crazy thing that came out of her mouth was that I had done something to make her lose her baby, which it took me at a surprise. Not that much of a surprise though, because I had known that she was out of her mind, but I don't know where that accusation came from. I would never harm a child. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this or not, but I am going to school to become a school teacher. So it would never cross my mind to hurt a child at all, a defenseless child, especially not with witchcraft or any other sort of thing, anything basically. And I don't believe in witchcraft, so how could I do something that I don't believe in? Which, I don't know, it's just right out crazy. So I don't remember what occurred after that, what words were said, but at this point in my life, which I remember back at that moment, I wish I would have slapped her, honestly. I know I shouldn't say that, but I don't know, after everything she has done, she deserved that and more. But I honestly told my husband that we weren't gonna move. I wasn't gonna make her happy by doing what she wanted, which was making us leave. We stayed there for a couple months, about 3 or 4 months after that incident, which after that, I don't know if her husband spoke with her, or I don't know if it was the words that were said after she made that crazy remark, but after that we didn't even see each other up until the day I moved. So I would leave, I would come in, go out, and she wouldn't be at the window like always. So I don't know what happened after that, but my husband eventually told me that he wasn't comfortable anymore, that his brother had changed his attitude towards him. He said that he wanted to move and just be apart from someone who had this crazy behavior and crazy mindset. So eventually we did end up moving. So like I said, I hadn't seen her before our moving day, which on our moving day we were packing and coming in and going out. So once we were ready to actually leave with our vehicles, she went ahead and opened her window, and I really didn't see her very well, but I did see she stood there for a couple of seconds, and she was just looking straight out of her window, looking at us, I guess, to make sure that we were leaving. I don't know if she was, I'm sure that she was happy. So yeah, that is basically it, guys. From there, I haven't seen her. I have had no contact with her. Yeah, so that is basically the reason why we moved. And honestly, I am comfortable here in my new home. Anywhere is a home where you have your family. And yeah, that is it. I hope you all enjoyed my story time. If you guys want to hear on anything else about anything, just let me know, and I would gladly go ahead and make a story time for any other event or any other reason or anything else. So that is it. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, I love each and every one of you guys. Bye bye.